I'm Beverly Sebastian with the National Greyhound Foundation. 20 years ago, I was a film producer for Paramount Pictures Home Video in Los Angeles. My husband and I came to Florida and produced a movie called Running Cool. It was a great biker film, and it was the last theatrical film we made in our career. After Running Cool, we retired, and I left the wild side of Hollywood and moved to the wild side of Florida, where I became interested in doing research on a new film. It was a film about greyhounds. I'd never seen a retired racing greyhound in my entire life until I started doing research. And then one day I met one called Happy, and he became Ferds and my soulmate. This fabulous dog, through the years, has caused us to be able to adopt over 7,000 of these racing greyhounds. I started the foundation in 1994 with the goal of spreading the word about greyhounds and how the people were treating them and how many of them were killed. At that time, 50,000 were killed. My first rescue came about 6 months after I opened my foundation. When we arrived, the dogs were in terrible shape, as they usually are, and they were held in a temporary holding pen. With temperatures above 100 degrees in the kennel, the dogs were dying from the heat. These little dogs were infested with worms and other internal and external parasites and needed medical attention badly. Television is the lifeblood of any of my rescues. Our television education programs really work. 17 of them were supposed to have been dead Monday, and we've adopted about 25 of these dogs in the last couple of days. These programs aren't free, though. They cost me a lot of money, but they save the greyhounds' lives and they get the word out about what great pets these little dogs make. I started out in Bradenton, where we were asked to rescue 50 dogs that they were going to put down, and that's what we did. And by the time I got through doing that, after 10 days of finding homes for these dogs, we were asked to move to Orlando, where another 300 waited for me. And if you've ever thought about having 300 greyhounds in one little compound, what on earth would you do? I had no idea what to do. I had no money. I had no place to put these dogs. And I had one of the major animal rights groups in the country against me. Ferd had received the Lord, a year or so before we moved down, when he had his heart trouble. And I'd listened to him and I'd watched him, and I've always been a Christian, but never really lived the Christian lifestyle. Been too busy making money, too busy being powerful. I can do anything was my attitude. Well, when I did this rescue, it was one time I couldn't do everything. I discovered that. And one night, when I thought the whole world was against me and I had all these dogs, I didn't know what to do with them, the news I finally got them to help me. I could see everybody and me making a fool of myself. So I went to bed one night and prayed that God would help me the next day face some of the problems that I was going to have to face. I didn't think much more about it, but I accepted Jesus Christ, and I just told him, I said, "You're bigger than I am, and I need your help." And sure enough, the next morning, the group that was supposed to come and boycott us, they never showed up, but hundreds of people showed up and adopted almost all of the dogs. It was late that afternoon when somebody asked me, "Well, what happened to that group that was supposed to come by and boycott you?" And I started laughing. I said, "Well, Jesus answered my prayer." And sure enough, that's exactly what he did. And he's been doing that all of the 18 years I've been running the foundation. No matter what it is, I ask him, Ferd and I do, what to do before we do it. In 2006, I started trying to figure out a way to get more foster homes to save more of the dogs. And I had a dream one night, and in this dream, I came up with the idea of putting these dogs in prisons and getting prisoners to train them. So I didn't think about it anymore. The next day I told Fred, I said, "I think I got an idea. I'm going to see about the prison, see if I can get Department of Corrections people to help us by training these dogs." For the past 6 years, we've been saving the lives and healing the spirits of men and women in prison, those people that needed a second chance at life. Most of them have never had unconditional love, and the Greyhounds have given them that. This has become one of the best rehabilitation programs in the prison system.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that save a wretch like me.
It's amazing what it does for me. I've been diagnosed as bipolar, and I've been getting treated for it. I get real depressed a lot. And prior to the Greyhounds coming here, I was having suicidal thoughts, and the medication wasn't working. But when they got here, it's just like the depression just disappeared.
I see.
And this is the best program that ever happened to the Department of Corrections in Michigan. It's really shown us what love is all about, how an animal can just love you, they don't know you, and you get together, and it's a beautiful thing.
I've been locked up 32 years. I don't have much. And the love I get from the dogs means a lot to me.
In 2012, I had again an idea. I wanted to do something for our veterans returning home from the service with PTSD. So I conceived the idea for Purple Heart Greyhound service dogs. Nobody's really made service dogs out of greyhounds. And since I've adopted over 7,000 of them, I know greyhounds pretty well. So I went back to the prison and got some of the more advanced trainers that train dogs for the blind and stuff like that, and asked them if we could do a program for training greyhounds for service dogs, and they all agreed, yeah. So I worked out the program, and in January we started our first training session. It takes a very special type of dog to be a service dog. So the end of that 10-week session, we had us 2 dogs. We had Nickel and we had Socks. They can be seen on our website, which is purpleheartgreyhounds.org, and tells their story. Socks was a little dog that had his face crushed when he was a puppy. Nobody wanted him. And I figured, well, somebody's going to want him. I'll find a veteran that needs him as much as he needs the veteran. The Purple Heart program is a terrific new program for these veterans. We're learning about PTSD, and we're learning what the ravages of war are, and it's our hope that these dogs will be able to help. On the Second Chance program, when I went back to the Lord and I said, well, I've got this idea, how do I do it? I had no idea how to do it because my mind thinks movies, and it was massive. And he says, do what you do best. So that's what I did with that program, which is the basis of both of the programs. All the stuff I learned in the movie business, I put into action in the prison program and now into the Purple Heart programs. For instance, the actors are the dogs.
You ready? Go for a ride? Good boy.
It's just patterned exactly like a movie is patterned. So everything you learn when you're growing up and working in your life, you'll use it sometime in your later life. It's about healing spirits and saving lives, both inmates and greyhounds. It's about giving everyone a second chance. The Purple Heart program will continue long after we're here, hopefully. We're raising funds to keep it going and to help these many, many men and women that need our help. That's the future of the Greyhound Foundation. And with God willing, He'll show us where we need to go and send me people that can help us take it there. Thank you for listening. I've enjoyed telling you, but we would have never done any of this, Ferd and I both, without finding the Lord and leaning on Him to show us the way and help us.
I want